is there anyone who actually needs a copy of what has been published in the paper? It's related to the notice of property tax increase. But I do have a copy of the proposed budget. We put it up on the screen this morning, but if you don't have a copy, we can certainly make you one if you'd like to look at it and review it.
I would like a copy of it.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I figured this room would be filled up.
Yeah, we had a few this morning. They were supposed to be in full, but it's rare. Hey, Buzz. It's rare that anybody shows up, honestly. I've had a many of them that we just start the meeting, wait 15 minutes and adjourn. Nobody shows up. I guess that could be good or it could be bad. While we're waiting on Josh, anybody got any questions in absence of the budget before he brings it to you, Don? Kyle? Victor? No, you have.
No, not at this time.
Thank you, Josh. I'd just like to know why such a huge increase.
Such a huge increase.
Well, it says in the paper here, a 9.38% increase.
Yeah, well, you can see where the increases are if you look at the percent change in 2017.
Yeah, they're all the sheriff.
Well, they're not all the sheriff.
Majority of it is.
911 was a big one.
Yeah, 911 sheriff, I mean, we can go down through that. Burke Court was up a little bit high, but I will tell you that we've basically, I don't want to say misappropriated, but there's an unbalanced distribution of charges for electricity to clerk of court versus judicial. You know, probably we should have put more, or we should have put more, and we did put more in the subsequent budget, but for power, for the clerk of court. Is there other things, Josh, you recall on the clerk of court? Utilities was a big
A
one.
little bit of an increase in terms of the software that she uses.
Maintenance agreement.
Does all this have to be done in 1 year? I mean, these are pretty sky increases.
Well, Don, you know, again, clerk of court was outside of her control, so she really didn't show up to the budget hearing. It really was, I mean, that was a utility thing more than operating, and like Josh said, the software. So really wasn't much could be done there other than pay it. Could it have been? I guess it could have. What you see on the proposed budget in terms of the sheriff's office and the jail and E911 is actually a reduction from what it will be this year based on the overages. And we did capture those overages based on what we feel like and what the sheriff agrees that he feels like his expenses would be over minus the additional revenue that will be brought in as a result of his efforts on the very bottom line, that $175,000. That's the net difference between the overages on the expense side and the additional revenue that will be brought in. Whether or not 100% of that revenue should be attributed to that formula or calculation, who knows, but that's just the difference in the increase in the revenue and the increase in expenditures. So it had to be captured too to balance that budget, balance the money we had for that.
Can you tell me why the 911 is so high? I thought we paid for some of that, came out of our cell phone bills. I don't understand why.
Some of it does.
Well, how come it's so high? $200,000 and some for that, 200, what, let's see, where is it? 230, that seems like a lot, I just don't understand it.
Well, what you have to do is you have to close the gap between what you get in fines and, for 911 fees, whether it be wireless or hardline fees, and, what it takes to run that office.
I mean, how many employees is it? And I just see somebody like answering phones and relaying the information to the police, or maybe you have like 10 people working at a time, 5 people working at a time.
Well, I think there's only 2 on shift at the
Okay.
time, and they have 1 director, so I think there's a total of 9 employees. 9 employees, and of course, there's software maintenance and stuff like that for it too. We distribute some of the power for that building to that department, and not 100% of it goes to the sheriff's office, and not 100% goes to jail. It's distributed. A minor portion of that is, and all the benefits that go with employees. I mean, it's primarily employee driven, just like every one of these departments.
Did you add more employees this year for next year, or?
I think there's a net of 1 different than it was last year. Is that right?
And they work 20-hour shifts or 10-hour shifts? Or?
They typically work 12-hour shifts. I think they've manipulated those a little bit to try to minimize overtime, but, yeah.
Well, I want to say that in the past years, I've always appreciated your leadership to be able to keep this, our taxes from getting really high. I mean, we have a house in 13 acres, and some of our property is on conservation easement, so we get a little reduction, but right now we're paying close to $3,000 in taxes. And this is going to increase it more when we're both retired. And sometimes I feel like we're punished because we did save and put all our money into a nice place,
I'm with you.
and
I'm with
it's
you.
just, and I'm afraid that if this increase comes this year, someone's gonna say, well, they didn't sweat it last year, we'll just increase it again. So we're gonna look for another 9% after this and another 9% after that,
And what about the school portion of the rate? This is not included,
What's that?
the school portion of the millage increase. This is just the county millage.
This is just the county, which is the only thing we really control, I think you know that.
so,
Now, this is for next year,
Mhm.
next year's
18.
taxes. So, they could come and hit us a double whammy with a 10% or more increase there for the school system.
yeah, so instead of looking at like paying $300 more, we could be paying like $600 more.
Now, I don't, maybe I never did take calculus, but I do pretty well with the regular math. But I can't understand the figures here in the paper.
Okay.
A 9.38% increase for us would mean about a $256 increase. Now, down here at the bottom, it says that a $125,000 house, the increase would mean $35.65, which does not work out the way I do math.
Are you basing that on an increase for your total tax bill?
Total tax
or just
bill.
that would just apply to the county's portion,
Okay,
which is about a third of that.
okay, all right, I got you. All right,
Does that make sense now?
that makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
Now, when are we gonna find out how much the school's gonna increase?
Yeah.
I don't think the schools is gonna increase.
It's not,
They would have had to
they would have to put it in
publish
there.
a notice of tax increase as well, which they didn't do.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes me feel better.
Good. Good.
Not really good, but
I hear you. I mean, you hear from all sides. As you know, you sit on the school board, you know how that works. But, and of course, there's a sheriff right there. I will tell you that, while there's been an increase, there's been efforts to make sure that there no longer will be an increase and minimize it in the future. I mean, that's been their effort. As we've talked about, and we had an opportunity to visit some of the stuff Diane's put online to review the meetings, but it's sort of been demonstrated as to how the process works and what efforts have been made, and those are tailing off, and I'm optimistic that we may actually see a reduction again next year.
good.
What is the budget for the planning planning commission.
For the planning commission for the zoning board?
Yes. I read
Zoning
something in the
board.
paper that we are like farming out some of that to Williamson something,
Wi-
according
Williams and
to.
Associates? Yeah, we do, but
Can we cut
what
that
happened
out?
there, Carol, was back during the downturn, we had a lot going on. We had like 5 people. We had like 5 people in the planning department. 2 part-timers and 3 full-timers. Okay, and so we downsized that because it just was no need. I mean, it's just right-sized it. And so as a result of that, Josh ended up coming over from the planning administrator to be a part of our office, and then we basically just subbed that out and eliminated the other positions. Well, Patty was still on, and then we also subbed out our building inspector. We made some adjustments there so people could waive some.
Yeah, I understand that, but to farm it out to somebody who is interested in development, is it gonna be, are they gonna be more pro-development?
Part of what they do is develop
Subdivision
things,
in
but
this
they
county?
represent people in the planning process, and, they've actually represented us for a long time, and what I was getting to is, as that downturn, it made sense to do what we did and sub that
Yeah.
out, so we didn't have full-time people with benefits.
But,
As it turns out, things are going back now, we're transitioning back to
okay, 'cause
having people do stuff here.
I'm worried that they would be in favor of their interests rather than the county interests.
Yeah.
I mean, we did
You
have
know-
that situation years and years ago when we had a surveyor in charge of the planning commission.
Well, you had a surveyor on the planning commission.
Well, he was the head of the planning
He
commission.
was the chairperson of the planning commission.
Yeah, and they all kind of did what he wanted them to do.
Yeah, because he's about the only one that knew what to do.
Well,
That's
he
what it
he
is.
had it his way, let's say that.
But what we're talking about here is an independent contractor who looks at our zoning orders and makes sure things apply on an administrative level. Then it still goes through the legislative process like it should go, and they have really nothing to do with that.
Well, I know that it was something to do with the corridor that's gonna be coming through the bypass, and it says something that Williams had the engineer that you guys needed, right? Something, I'm just going by that letter by Hawkins in the paper.
No,
Was
not
it
Josh, but Jim Hawkins.
Jim Hawkins.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that would take someone on the federal level, they'd have their own engineer.
I don't know that Williams Associates
Okay.
had anything to do with that project. Now, I think what you might, I don't know, I don't recall exactly what Jim Hawkins wrote in the paper. What he might have said was Williams and Associates represented the client that had the application, and they also served an administrative role for us.
Right,
Right.
Now, that might have been what you saw, I don't know.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, and of course, in our meeting the other night, we recognized that there could be the perceived conflict, but we just, honestly, I do not feel like there is a conflict. But if the perception's there, then we need to address it, and that's really what I was getting to before. And that's the first time, actually the first and second time, Williams and Associates represented both applicants. One that was on a 6-month clock, starting a 6-month clock, that will be addressed later on. And the other one was the one that you're talking about. And again, we're even before that, believe it or not, we were looking at transitioning away from them and trying to handle it in-house, and we've got
Yeah.
plans to do that.
Figured you could save some money that way, anything that could be cut out.
Well, actually, having them do it on an as-needed basis saves money to begin with, but then you get to the point where you have enough applications that are doing it enough, then you justify doing it back in-house, and that's what we're looking at right now. Now, if the economy turns south again, we may be looking to use another planning group, maybe not Williams and Associates, but somebody else to do that too. It's worked out pretty good. It hadn't been the best level of service that you would expect, but other than this one-time issue over the last, 4 years,
3 or 4 years.
and this happened most recently, and I say issue, perceived issue, it's worked really well, and it's helped us be able to reduce and adjust. So, but what I was really getting to there was we are looking to try to transition away from that. And even in the immediate future, if they do represent a client, we probably don't want them to be representing us at the same time. Now, there's two different there's separate people and separate parts who represent folks. So I have no doubt that there's zero conflict, that when there's perception, it's just as good as reality, if you're the one who perceives it. So, I mean, it's a good point. We recognize it actually before now, and we are planning to address that.
What we didn't wanna do is keep around a whole bunch of full-time folks, if it wasn't a full-time work job, so we had workload to do, so this became an alternative for a while.
Eric? Good to see you again.
Welcome back.
Victor?
Hi. I want to talk about the sheriff's budget.
Okay.
Because if you go through this, a lot of departments didn't get any increase. And some of them actually got decreases. Like, senior center got 11% decrease. The library didn't get any more money. And there was huge, I consider pretty good increases for the sheriff's office is what, 9.3? The jail, 14, EMS, 39. Did he add positions and hire more people?
Well, let me back up and tell you about the Senior Citizen Center and the other ones before that. Because you talk about they had a decrease. Actually, they had an increase the year before, especially with the senior citizens, for capital purchases. Those capital purchases are now made, so that's been reduced back. So that's what that is. You see it as a decrease, but it's actually going
Okay.
And I forget what the other one was.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of departments that didn't get any more money, like Parks and Recreation, Library, Board of Health. I mean, some of them have small decreases, but the lion's share of the increase are with the sheriff's department. Did they hire more people? Is that why they need more money?
I think there's additional staff.
So he couldn't run his department on the people he had? He campaigned and said that he could run his department on the budget that was presented.
Sheriff, would you
He
like to-
told everybody that, and that he could run it within the constraints of the budget. Well, obviously he can't, and now he needs more money to justify it.
Coming into looking at the sheriff's office, what's going on there is once you get in there and saw what was going on, the way they were running that department was unconstitutional, and we were open to liabilities. When you're running a jail with 2 people, you will save money. However, when it's designed to be run with 4 people, you're creating liabilities and the possibility of people getting hurt and escaping. That's not allowable. There are certain constitutional requirements under the law that you have to staff things a certain way. The other thing is we actually have 2 deputies working now, and not just one at night and stuff. When you get in there and actually look at the way money was being saved, it's against what you're supposed to be doing in that position. Some of the stuff got moved around. Some of the stuff, the E911, there are certain software and stuff that was being paid for through the sheriff's office budget. And really what it is you're in control of 3 different budgets. And like in the jail, we had software that was being paid for in the jail that benefits detectives. Detectives are paid under the sheriff's office. I had a transport deputy that was being paid for the sheriff's office that really benefits the jail. So when you go in there and move things around and straighten things out, it's going to cost different for each one. And
But you have increases for all 3 of them.
right, but here's the other thing. Look at the increase in revenues. What's the net increase? That's the
Okay,
question.
you're saying you're increasing the revenues, right?
Yes, yes.
Are you over budget now? Yes or no?
I still have money in the bank.
Are you gonna run a deficit for the year?
We'll have to wait till the end of the year.
But you see, you campaigned and said that you could run on that budget. You told everybody at the depot that you could run on that budget with the budget constraints.
The budget he had this year was $47,000 less
Right.
than the budget last year.
But that's not what you said.
Well, the
You
budget
said you
last
could
year
run on it.
was $47,000. Well, do you want me to save money or are you going to do the job right? Do you want me to
That's
get
not the point.
sued or do you want, it is the point.
No,
It is the point, because doing the job right, my job is not to come in here and save money. My job is to do law enforcement and do it right, okay?
but you don't get to determine the amount of money that you need to run your department. They need to run. You have to run it on the money that they give you.
No, that's not true.
Yes, they did. They had a court
What?
decision on that.
What's the case?
Low versus the county.
Okay.
And it was decided that the county decides your budget and you have to run on that budget.
However, the issue is, if you look under Saba versus Delaware County, what it will tell you is, it has to be enough to efficiently and effectively run the department. They can't arbitrarily cut your budget. So if you need a certain amount of people, and they say, you know what, we know you need 18, we're gonna give you 10. And they can't tell me how to run my budget. They can only approve a certain amount of money. Now, once that amount of money is approved, I'm supposed to use it the way I'm supposed to use it. Okay?
Right. If
'Cause
they give you $1 million, you need to stay within that $1 million. You can't spend $1,000,001.
The sheriff's office budget is pretty much unlike any other budget. For instance, we had one a few years ago where there's a murder and they put the folks in a well in Walton County.
Yeah, I know about it.
Okay, guess who has to pay that? To get that body out, about $60,000. And you would never think when you're making your budget that you're gonna spend $6,000 to get a body out of the well. But you have to do that. That's what the law says, you know. It benefits us, so you can't plan for all the different things. You know, if we have a murder case and we have a manhunt, we have to pay everybody to come out here 24 hours a day for a month. The county foots that bill.
Oh, I understand that, but you yourself admitted you hired more deputies, right?
If you
Than
look,
what was you inherited, right?
last November, I got a list of all the positions,
Okay,
and I hired those positions. And when
okay.
I hired those positions, what the previous sheriff had done to save money, he didn't fill all the positions. The positions were already there, but he didn't fill them in order to stay under budget.
Okay,
But if you need the people, you need the people. Does that make sense?
okay, so you filled the positions.
Right, that would.
You had okay, let's talk about the positions. You hired, what do they call it, assistant, deputy, whatever, right? Your assistant.
Mhm.
But we already had one. So somehow that guy was gone,
Yes,
right? Whatever reason. You hired somebody from Clark County,
yes,
right?
yes,
Okay, which you knew, right?
yes.
You knew him. So he's a friend of yours.
Well, I'm saying
Well-
friend, he's somebody I work
Well,
with.
you knew him, right? So you kind of hired your crony to hire him, but you gave him a raise, right? You gave him a raise of $10,000, right?
No, I didn't give him a raise.
You didn't give him a raise. He gets the same as the
The
old
previous,
deputy.
the sheriff sets his own budget about what he pays people. And what you look at is you look at what's comparable in the area. And if you
No,
look.
that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you, did the new man make more money than the old person?
Yes, he did.
Okay, and he's your friend, right? Or you knew him?
Yes, we worked together.
Okay, that's what we want to know. You hired people that were already in that position. For whatever reason, you let them go. You hired new people for the same position for more money. And now you're complaining that you can't make your budget goals. But you hired people that were in the position for more money than the previous people were making.
Well, I prepare quality.
Quality is,
No, it matters.
that's,
Quality gets you sued. If you have
Yeah,
people doing
okay.
their job, the last
So
chief
you're
deputy,
saying-
hold on. The last chief deputy been fired 3 times for sexual harassment. I don't want him working for me.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
So I brought somebody in who doesn't have that issue, and yes, he costs more money, but he also takes care of more issues for me and takes care of problems. We supervise more people than anybody else in the government. We have about 50 people we supervise. So you look for dollar, we're getting our money's worth out of that. Yes, ma'am.
David, while we're on salaries, can you compare what the salaries in Oglethorpe County Sheriff's Department are for those around the region?
We did a salary comparison about region, and when we call region any jurisdiction that touched Oglethorpe County, that our immediate region. That'd be Clark County, Oconee County, Wilkes County, Elbert County, Greene County, all the counties and all the police departments in those counties. Just the region itself, which include UGA, GSP, Athens, Clark County, we were 31 to 50% below what they paid. Being fair, we said, okay, we're not really in competition with UGA and stuff, we're never going to pay what they pay. Let's just look at other rural sheriff's offices, which is Elbert County, Madison County, Greene County, and Wilkes County, which is our competition. And we're still 15 to 21% below their money. We're the lowest paid in the area. And I could pay somebody $5 an hour, but if I don't have a body that will be willing to work for that money, it's a waste of space. I need people to be out here to actually do the job. I can save money and not hire anybody, but then when you call 911, it might be a couple hours before somebody gets there. In my opinion, that's not doing my job.
And how much do they make an
Well, everybody's getting raises this year, and right now, I think we're probably closest to Madison County. They're making $14.75 an hour. When I come here, the deputies were making $12.23 an hour. I gave them a little bit of a raise to $13.23 just to get people. We're still paying less than everybody else, but it's hard to sell $2 less an hour when it's, you know, $1 less an hour. My goal this year is to get everybody over $30,000 base pay. When you look at the base rate times the number of hours they work, just the base pay, because when you're comparing apples and apples, and that's what we're talking about here, comparing the region, we're comparing the base rate. And comparing base rate, I just want to get over 30,000, because when somebody makes 29,999, and somebody else makes 31,000, and somebody makes 30,000, and somebody else makes 31,001, it sounds like it's close together. And a lot of it is, you know, you're trying to recruit good people here. These people protect your homes. I don't want people that are gonna make mistakes carrying guns in this county and doing things that are gonna cost the county a lot more money in the future. Police officers and deputies are something you wanna hire people with good common sense that are quality people. You don't wanna just pick up the dented and broken ones, because those cost you money in the future, I'm just gonna tell you. Lawsuits and other things. When we first came down here, I found that a lot of things were troubling the way they were being done. Within the first month, we had a search and seizure class, because the way search and seizure was being done wasn't exactly the way the Constitution said. And so we're trying to bring people into compliance, and we want to serve the community the way it's supposed to be done, but we want good quality people to do it. But you're not gonna get good quality people for $12 an hour. It just ain't gonna happen. Why would a good quality person come work here for $12 an hour when you can go in that store and work at almost $15 an hour? That's.
Well, you're
that's
saying
the
there was corruption in the previous administration, is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is things weren't done very smartly. And the point is, when you start doing your job to stay under budget, instead of asking for the budget to do your job, you're gonna have issues. It's really simple. I just let everybody go home for a week. Once a month, we'll do a furlough for a week, and the rest of the year, we'll come under budget, but you're not gonna have any police services. I think most people want police services.
Yeah, they want police services, but at a reasonable cost.
Well,
We
we
can't.
do it cheaper than anybody else in this area. I don't
That's
know
not
for
an
a reason.
excuse. The excuse is,
Well,
you're
what's
just making
reasonable? What's
excuses.
reasonable?
All right?
What's reasonable to you? We do it less than any other department
That's not
in the
the
area.
point.
It is the point.
The point is,
If we're doing
the
less than
budget-
everybody else.
you're allowed a certain increase for the budget.
Right.
I used to be a budget analyst,
Right.
okay?
Then you know the difference between a constitutional officer and the
Now
department.
that I don't know. I don't know anything about the law. All I
Here's the
know
way
is
the well, let
about
me explain
budget.
this to you, because it's important. In the state of Georgia, constitutional officers, which is the probate judge, the clerk of courts, the sheriff, and the tax commissioner, are all constitutional officers.
Right.
And it's a fine line between the commissioners, because the commissioners hold the purse strings, but they're not allowed to tell the constitutional officer how to do their job.
Right, we're not telling you how to spend the money.
Well, you kind of are.
No, we're
Like you
telling
said.
you, we're giving you a budget of $1 million.
Right.
And we expect you to make, you can spend $1 million whatever you want to, but we don't want you to go out and spend $1.1 million. That's the point I'm trying
Last
to
year,
make.
if I had not changed a single thing and hired the positions that were on the list, payroll would have been $671,000. There was $620,000 budgeted. Explain that to me. If I didn't change anything, and there was $47,000 less in budget, I kind of find that to be a little impossible. I would have never accepted the budget last year.
So why did they?
Well, I had to ask somebody else. I
Right.
wasn't here. I
But-
didn't have
You
anything.
see, I maintain that you, when you took office, you said that you could run it within the budget. You told everybody, but now we find out that you can't. Now you're coming up with all these excuses. And you yourself admitted that you hired this deputy, whatever his name is, at a higher rate than the other one. Because you said you couldn't find anybody at that same pay level. But did you try? Or did you just hire somebody that you knew?
Well, if I'm gonna hire a chief deputy, it's gonna be somebody I trust.
But you didn't really run a national campaign to find somebody.
And I don't have to.
Yeah, I know that. But there
I'm
were
saying
probably
no.
were other people who would be willing to take that job who were qualified at the same pay.
Well, I can guarantee you this, if you find anybody more qualified who will take that job, what I pay, good luck. Because I'm in the business, and I'm saying he ain't out there.
Yeah, but you don't know because you didn't try.
Well, I didn't need to try.
Yeah, see, that's the point. You did not try.
Okay,
We have to take your word for it.
okay,
So I made my point.
yes, ma'am.
I'm a little new at this, but I was at this morning's meeting and Mr. Bitter said perception is almost the same as, I mean, it's the same as reality to a lot
Yeah,
of
it
people.
is reality, it's their own reality, how they see it.
Well, and in what I'm saying is, when people read about the amount of money that's being spent, and some of us are associated with volunteer fire department, library, places like that, that are struggling and stay within their budget.
Mhm.
The perception is, well, I hear what you're saying, but, and it was also tied to quality of life in this county. A volunteer fire department affects our quality of life, the library does, it's not the same thing as police protection.